Pesticides are widely used to control unwanted pests. They are used in gardens, homes, granaries, golf courses, nurseries, greenhouses, and on farms. Pesticides are toxic chemicals that kill pests, and if used improperly, they can also harm humans. This video will help you, as an agricultural worker, understand the requirements of the Worker Protection Standard. Pesticides can be found in different forms: liquids, dust, and granules, gases, and residues. Many pesticides are mixed with water or other chemicals in order to be sprayed. Liquid is the most common form. There are dusts and granules. Gases called fumigants are mostly used in greenhouses and granaries. They are also used in the soil. Residues are what is left after the plants have been treated. The amounts left often cannot be seen or smelled. If you brush up against these plants, you may get pesticide residue on your clothing or skin. Plants are not the only place where residues can be found. You can find pesticide residues in the soil. They are on produce. Work clothes have fibers that will trap chemicals. Pesticide equipment may have residue on it. Pesticide storage and handling areas have residues. Irrigation water and irrigation equipment can have pesticide residues in and on them from being sprayed in the application process or from chemigation and drift. Chemigation is applying pesticides or fertilizers through irrigation equipment. Chemicals are added to the water used for irrigating a crop. Chemigation water may look clear, but it is unfit for human use. Chemical drift happens when the wind catches the pesticide being applied in one field and carries it into the next field. If you are working and feel mist on your face or smell a strong chemical odor, look to see where it is coming from. If there is chemigation or pesticides being applied nearby, leave the field immediately. If you get pesticide residue on you from drift, you need to wash exposed areas as soon as possible. It is also recommended that you shower and change clothes. If pesticide residue gets in your eyes, rinse them with a gentle stream of clean water. There are several ways to find out if pesticides are being applied. No sooner than 24 hours before the scheduled application, an announcement will be posted in a central location. It tells the location and description of the area to be treated, product name, EPA registration number, active ingredient, common or chemical name, and the time and date of application and restricted entry interval. The restricted entry interval, or REI, is how much time must pass before anyone can safely re-enter the field without personal protective equipment. The time is usually 4 to 72 hours, depending upon the pesticide. With this information, you can determine when you can enter the treated area. Also required at the central location is the EPA pesticide safety poster, which must display the name, address, and phone number of the nearest medical facility. If you see a field posted with a sign like this, do not enter. These signs should be posted where workers normally enter the field. Under some circumstances, posting the warning signs are not necessary. An oral warning may be all the employer is required to do depending upon the pesticide that is being used. Also, your boss or supervisor can tell you when and where treatment is going to happen.
Okay, everybody, field number 7 has been sprayed today with pesticides, so stay out of there till Saturday, okay?
For your protection, pesticides have signal words on their labels. The least harmful pesticides will have the word caution. Those that say warning are more harmful. The most harmful pesticides have danger on the label. Pesticides can enter your body through different ways, such as through the mouth by swallowing, like eating produce that has residues on it, or lunches that have been exposed to pesticides, or by not washing your hands before eating. A second way pesticides can enter your body is through your skin. That is why you should wear proper clothing. Pesticides can also get into your body through inhalation. If you inhale any of these forms, whether it be powder, mist, or gas, you will get pesticide chemicals into your body. Another route of exposure is through the eyes by rubbing them with clothing or gloves with pesticide residues. You can prevent pesticides from entering your body in several ways. Wearing proper work clothes such as long-sleeved shirts and long trousers will help protect the skin by being a barrier. Proper footwear such as boots or shoes along with socks is the best protection against pesticide residues. Another way to prevent pesticides from entering your body is simply to avoid the areas where they've been used. You may be tempted to drink or rinse off with irrigation water. Don't do it. If the farmer is chemigating, you could be bathing in chemicals. Stay out of areas posted with warning signs. The area has been sprayed recently and the concentration of pesticides is high. Remember, if pesticides are drifting to where you are working, leave immediately. Do not take produce home from the field unless you can be sure the pre-harvest interval has passed. This is the number of days that must pass after the application of pesticides before the produce may be harvested or safely eaten. This information is found on the pesticide label. Always wash produce before you eat it. Never take pesticide containers home. Even if they are rinsed and washed several times, they never get entirely clean. The residue that is left will contaminate whatever is put in it. Finally, no matter how careful you are around fields treated with pesticides or what type of clothing you wear, you need to practice routine decontamination. The decontamination site should provide a minimum of 1 gallon of water per worker, single-use towels, and soap. Water should be of a quality that will not cause illness or injury when it contacts the skin or eyes, or if it is swallowed. Emergency eye flushing techniques will be demonstrated later in the early entry and handler portion of this video. Always wash your hands before you put anything in your mouth, like food, gum, or cigarettes. Wash your hands even if you've been wearing gloves. Wash your hands before using the toilet. Pesticide residues on clothing can be hazardous. Clothing can entrap the pesticide residues and keep them next to your skin for a longer period of time. The chemicals can then be absorbed into your body. Work clothes should be stored separately until they can be washed. To wash clothes with residue on them, use hot water on the high water setting and use a heavy-duty soap. Wash and dry them separately from your other clothing. It is best to dry the clothes on a line in the sun. This helps break down the pesticides. Even if you aren't working directly with pesticides, you may be gathering small amounts of residue on your clothing. Always be sure to wash your work clothes after each time you wear them. As you can see, there are many ways that pesticides can get on you. The things you can do to protect yourself are wearing proper clothing, avoiding places where concentrated pesticides are, washing produce, leaving lunches or cigarettes in a safe place, washing your hands, showering after work, and laundering your clothes after you wear them. However, accidents happen. Let's look at what to watch for and what to do in case something goes wrong. There are two types of pesticide toxicity, acute and chronic. Acute effects can cause either illness or irritation to the skin, eyes, nose, and mouth. Acute effects happen immediately or within 24 hours after you've been exposed to a pesticide. Chronic and delayed effects, on the other hand, will not be noticed right away. Sometimes they are caused by exposure to small amounts of pesticides over a long period of time. You may not even think that pesticides are the cause. For example, you may develop allergies or begin to have allergic reactions to pesticides. You may have trouble getting pregnant. The fetus may develop birth defects, or you could lose the fetus during the pregnancy. Tumors and cancer may be linked to overexposure to pesticides. You may develop symptoms such as numbness or pain because of the damage done by the pesticides to your nervous system. The risk of developing these problems is small, but it is another reason to take steps to protect yourself from pesticide exposure. Hopefully you and your coworkers will never be exposed to harmful amounts of pesticides, but if it does happen, your body gives you some warning signs that let you know you've gotten too much. A first warning sign may be a skin rash or itching sensation. Your eyes, nose, and mouth may become irritated and might start to water or become dry and scratchy. Other important signs to watch for include sleepiness, headache, dizziness, disorientation, blurred vision, sweating, cramps, nausea and vomiting, drooling from the nose and mouth, difficulty breathing, unconsciousness, and pinpoint pupils. One or several of these effects can appear at the same time. If you're having these symptoms, or you notice someone else is, they could be caused by pesticide poisoning. This is a dangerous situation, so get medical attention immediately. When someone is poisoned by pesticides, fast action may save the life of the person affected or minimize the damage from the chemicals. Different pesticides have different antidotes or treatments for poisoning. You need to provide the name of the pesticide or the product label to the doctor or poison control center. The label lists the pesticide's commercial name and the active ingredient. It also has the EPA registration number. If you can't find the label, go to the central location. The name, active ingredient, and EPA registration number are posted there. When someone is poisoned, every second matters. All this information will help the doctor save time in treating the victim. There are several ways to get emergency help. The address and phone number of the nearest medical facility must be posted at the central location. Dial the 911 emergency number if it is available in your area. You may need to drive the victim to the nearest medical facility. If you are the one poisoned, do not attempt to drive. Have someone else drive, or call for an emergency response team. You could become unconscious and cause a worse accident. Your employer is responsible for providing transportation to the nearest medical facility. If that's unavailable, immediately call for an ambulance. There are many things you can do to help someone who's been injured by pesticides. If a coworker accidentally swallows a pesticide and is conscious, you can give them water to drink if the label says you can. Also, keep them warm and comfortable. Get to a phone quickly and call for emergency help. There are other illnesses that could look like pesticide poisoning, but are actually caused by heat stress. Signs of heat illness can include fatigue, headache, nausea, chills, dizziness, and fainting. Severe thirst, dry mouth, and fast pulse are also signs of heat stress. Heavy sweating, along with confusion, slurred speech, and quarrelsome or irrational attitude can be from heat illness instead of pesticide poisoning. If you suspect a worker has a heat-related illness, remove the worker to a cooler, shaded area as quickly as possible. If conscious, have the worker drink as much water as possible, loosen or remove clothing, splash cold water on the body, and massage legs and arms. The most important thing is to lower the body temperature as soon as possible. Either sickness, pesticide poisoning, or heat stress is life-threatening, and the victim should be seen by a doctor. To control heat stress, wear a hat. If you feel hot, take periodic breaks in the shade or a cool area and drink lots of water. Remember, do not enter a field during a pesticide application or before the restricted entry interval has expired. If you are asked to go in, you will need personal protective equipment and additional training from your employer. Be sure that your work environment is safe. You have the right to ask for and receive what you need to work safely under the Worker Protection Standard. You cannot legally be fired or disciplined for requesting these rights. Remember, your employer must provide you with central location information, decontamination sites, emergency assistance, and must warn you of pesticide applications and restrictions. Your employer must also verify or provide pesticide safety training. Pesticides need to be respected. Be aware of what is being used and where. Above all, use common sense. It is up to you to be safe. For exemptions concerning posting or other Worker Protection Standard exemptions, refer to EPA's How to Comply manual. If you have any questions, please ask them now. There'll be a short break before training continues.